Amy, what do you mean? You're saying no. This is something I heard a lot when I started to set boundaries. And I know that this is something that my clients face a lot. Because as women, we grow up thinking that we have to be this good girl, this perfect girl who doesn't set boundaries, who says yes to everything, the one who doesn't cause issues, who's not too much. But this creates problems. My name is Amy. I help female entrepreneurs get to 6 and 7 figures without burnout, overwhelm, and the hustle and grind. And I am so happy to welcome you to this channel. Now, I'm gonna dive into this because this is so important, right? But burnout happens massively because we don't know how to set boundaries and manage our energy. All right, let's get into this. So I'm going to be talking mainly about boundaries today. But really what happens is we have people who come to us with these desires, with these things they want from us, with different, requests. And we feel guilty to say no. The conditioning runs deep, especially for women. We are told to be the good girl, to sit upright, to say yes to everyone, to please everybody, to smile, to look good, to always impress. But behind the scenes, we are exhausted. We are tired. We are burnt out because we are not managing our energy. Your energy is your greatest business asset. I'm going to say that again. Your energy is your greatest business asset. And without your energy being in full supply, without your cup running over, you are not going to be able to lead and get to 6 and 7 figures in a way that is sustainable, that is powerful, and that is passionate. So how do we set boundaries? How do we start setting boundaries with people? Well, the key is that we need to let them know that we have them in the first place. So let's say you have an individual specifically that maybe whenever you meet up with them, or let's say this, they ask you to meet up with them. You always say yes because you feel guilty saying no. They're your best friend, or it's your brother, or it's this person or that person. So you always say yes. You put things aside that you actually wanted to do for you to see that person. And you do this often. And you see that person and all they do is offload and talk about themselves. And hey, that's fine sometimes, but every time you leave the conversation feeling depleted and exhausted most of the time, right? And so you need to start asking yourself, how can I take a step back from this? Because every time you leave the conversation feeling depleted and exhausted, you are literally eating away at your potential in your business, your creativity, your leadership. When we have no energy, we don't want to be around people. Everybody's an enemy. We are not creative, right? We're not in that space of inspiration and passion. So how can we thrive? How can the business thrive if we are not setting boundaries? And so one conversation I had with someone the other day was this. They said to me, well, Amy, the problem is one of my clients, she said to me, the problem is that when I set boundaries, it's always taken badly, and I'm afraid now of setting them because I'm afraid people are going to take them badly. And so there's 2 things to think about here. Number 1, if people can't handle your boundaries, they don't really care about you and your dream and your vision and supporting the real, authentic you. They like the old version of you that they got everything from. So maybe you want to ask yourself if that person really deserves to be in your life and if you want that person in your life. The second thing is, there's different ways to communicate a boundary. A lot of the time we think we can only communicate it by saying, John, my boundary is this, and you must respect it. But actually we could say it in a playful, in a calm, in a chilled way where we're like, hey John, I know you've been saying this thing a lot, but actually, I'm trying out this new way of doing things and I'd really rather if you could try say it like this instead. Is that cool? Can we try that? There's a totally different energy there. And people don't get their defenses up when we are warm, kind, encouraging, and bring in a little bit of fun. So this is my recommendation to you. Don't be afraid of boundaries. They do not kick people out. They just show people where the door is. Thank you so much for joining me. Click the link below if you want to join my free masterclass on becoming more magnetic and hitting those 6 and 7 figures with ease and without burnout. And I am so excited to see you in the next video.